Good day, ma'am. I am Nora Alessandra Iandung from BSED English 1A. Today, we are tasked to tackle about Week 1 module. Number 1, how does Dr. Germino Abad differentiate communication and expression? In communication, one conveys what one thinks and feels at the moment of speech with other speakers. In expression, one shapes the language to one's own perception or institution about some aspects of feature of reality, whether that reality has actually been lived or has only been imagined. Number two, why do English teachers want to privilege Filipino literature wrote from English as model of good writing? So, as a teacher of English, we want to privilege Filipino language who wrote from English as models of good writing precisely because one, the culture and express experience from which these points arise are our own history as a people. Number three, define literature in two sentences. So, literature is a written works such as poems, plays, and novels that are considered to be very good and to have lasting importance. It is writings in prose or verse, especially in writings having excellence of form of expression and expressing ideas of permanent or universal interest. Number four, give the importance of literature in 21st century world. So, literature help us learn and relate to others. By reading through other people's experience and perspective, we can fully understand their mindset and feel how they interpret it. Or it is crucial nowadays, since we feel like people are detaching from human engagement by using smartphones and social media. So, literature teaches us humanity to be sensitive and empathetic towards others. It also provides us the outlet for our thoughts and emotions and imagination. So, all this can help uh, address the problems that our world is facing now, such as increasing intolerance and stressing life. Number five, explain the function of literature in the society. So, literature is a imitation of human life and action. It is a reflection of the human society, and literature not only reflects the society but serve as a mirror in which members of the society can look at themselves and see the need of positive change. As an art, literature might be described as organization of words to give pleasure. Yet, through words, literature elevates and transforms experience beyond mere pleasure. So, literature also functions more broadly in society as a means of both criticizing and affirming cultural values. Number six, explain the division and subdivision of literature and of the literary genre. So there are two main divisions of literature. We have prose and poetry. Prose is a literature work which gives information, relate events, express ideas, or present opinions. Under this division, we have two subdivisions: the fiction and non-fiction. Fiction is a literary work of imaginative narration. It normally came from the writer's imagination, and some literary genres that fall under fiction include legend. So, legend is a prose fiction which attempts to explain the origin of things, places, objects that we see around us. Short stories is a short prose fiction narrative depicting a simple and characterization and plot conveying a moral. We have novel is a very long prose narrative depicting complex characterization and plot which is usually decided into chapters. Divided into chapters. Number four, we have novella. It's a long prose narrative similar to but shorter than a novel, but longer than a short story. It is also known as novelette. We have fable. It's a short prose fiction narrative depicting animal characters which exposes a lesson in life. We have also the parable. It's a short prose allegorical narrative which presents a philosophical outlook in life. Next, we will proceed to nonfiction. So, nonfiction is a subdivision of prose which covers a literary work of real life narration or exposition based on history and fact. So, under nonfiction, we have biography. Biography is a prose nonfiction detailing the life of person within by another person. History is a prose nonfiction record of events that trans- transpire in the past. We have news. It's a prose nonfiction narrative of events that happen every day. Diary is a personal account of significant events that happen in the life of a person. Next, we have anecdote is a prose nonfiction narrative that depicts a single incident in a person's life. Last, we have essay is a prose nonfiction which is a formal treatment of an issue written from the writer's personal point of view. Next, we have poetry. Is a division of literature works which covers literary works expressed in verse, measure, rhythm, sounds, and imaginative language, and creates an emotional response to an experienced feeling or fact. Mm. Next, we have narrative poetry. Is a subdivisions of poetry which tells or narrates a story. Under narrative poetry, we have epic. Epic is a narrative poem which accounts the heroic exploits of a community's hero, usually involving superhuman abilities. Next, we have ballad. It's a narrative poem which depicts a single incident that transpires in a person's life. Next, we have metrical tale. It's a narrative poem which narrates a story in a meter or measure number of syllables. There are two popular variations in Philippines literature, which we have the awit and corrido. Next, we have the lyric poetry. It's a subdivision of poetry which features poems intended to be sung with accompaniment of musical instrument and called lyre. Hence, it is lyric poetry. Under lyric poetry, we have song. It's a lyre poem of various theme which is meant to be sung in its entirety. Next we have ode. It's a lyric poem, noble and exalted emotions, which has dignified countenance. So we have elegy. It's a lyric poem of sad themes such as lament for death, longing for misery, love, and grief for things beyond one's control. Sonnet is a lyric poem of 14 syllabic pentameter lines usually about love and beautiful themes. Next, we have the Idyll. Is a lyric poem celebrating the tranquil and beautiful landscape of rural and country settings. Next, we have the dramatic poetry. It's a subdivision of poetry which features poems meant to be performed on stage. Theater plays and dramatic presentations belong to this type. Tragedy. is a dramatic poetry which features a hero human hubris and shortcoming eventually caused his downfall to defeat, often ending in a very sad conclusions. Next we have comedy. Is a dramatic poetry which is similar with tragedy except that the hero triumphs and overcomes the odds towards the end and emerge victoriously. Melodrama is a dramatic poetry which is combinations of the elements of tragedy and comedy yet ends in a happy note. Next we have the farce. Is a dramatic poetry which is exaggerated comedy that aims to elicit laughter, hence relaxation. We have social play. It's a dramatic poetry which tackles social issues and problems such as poverty, corruption, discrimination, racism, sexism, among others, with an aim to bring awareness and bring about positive change. Lastly, we have differentiate literature with the capital L and literature with the small capital L. Literature with a small l designates any written text. We can talk about the literature on any given subjects without much difficulty. While literature with a capital L, by contrast, it designates a much smaller set of texts, a subset of all the texts that have been written.